Have you ever noticed that as you get older, you start visiting people less often? Maybe you used to be the kind of person who made the rounds, stopping by to see friends, attending every event, making sure to stay socially active. But over time, something shifts. You start thinking twice before heading out. And those casual visits don't feel as necessary as they once did. And here's the truth, that's completely okay. In this video, we're going to talk about 6 real reasons why I don't go visiting around anymore. These aren't about becoming antisocial or shutting people out. Instead, they're about understanding how priorities change, how relationships evolve, and why choosing when and where to spend your time matters more than ever. If you've ever felt the same way, but couldn't quite explain why, stick around. This will help you put it into words. Stay tuned until the end because these reasons might just change the way you see yourself and your relationships, helping you feel more confident in the choices you make. Let's get started. Number 1, prioritizing energy for meaningful interactions. As you get older, you start to realize that your energy is not unlimited. The things that once felt effortless, driving across town, spending hours in conversation, attending every gathering, now take more out of you than they used to. It's not that you don't want to see people, but rather that you have to be selective about how you use your time and energy. You start to think, who are the people that truly matter? When you're younger, socializing often revolves around staying connected, keeping up with acquaintances, and maintaining a wide circle of friends. But as the years go by, something shifts. You begin to value quality over quantity. It's no longer about seeing everyone. You'd rather spend time with the people who uplift, make you feel comfortable, and bring real joy into your life. Casual visits that used to feel necessary now seem like a drain on your limited energy, especially when you could be using that time to nurture relationships that truly matter. Think about it. How many times have you forced yourself to go somewhere out of obligation, only to come home feeling exhausted? You sit through conversations that don't really interest. You spend time with people who don't make an effort to know you and leave feeling like you would have been happier staying home. There comes a point where you realize that your time is valuable and not everyone deserves a piece of it. Take Frank, for example. He used to feel guilty about turning down invitations. He thought that if he didn't go visit people regularly, they would think he didn't care. But over time, he noticed something. The people who truly valued him didn't need frequent visits to maintain a strong connection. Instead of spending his energy on surface-level interactions, he started focusing on deeper, more meaningful relationships, and suddenly socializing felt less like an obligation and more like a true joy. It's not about isolating yourself, it's about choosing wisely. You don't need to be everywhere, and you don't need to see everyone to prove that you care. Real connections don't require constant presence. They require genuine appreciation, understanding, and a mutual respect for each other's time. Number 2, avoiding unnecessary stress and drama. One of the biggest lessons you learn as you get older is that not every social interaction is worth your peace of mind. There was a time when you might have tolerated gossip, unnecessary conflicts, or people who seemed to bring more negativity than joy. But as the years go by, you start to recognize that protecting your peace is more important than maintaining every relationship. It's not that you don't care about people. It's that you don't have the patience for drama anymore. You don't feel the need to argue over small things, rehash old conflicts, or entertain conversations that leave you feeling frustrated. If visiting someone means dealing with unnecessary stress, whether it's family tension, passive-aggressive remarks, or the same old arguments that never go anywhere, you start to ask yourself, why am I putting myself through this? Think about it. Have you ever left a gathering feeling emotionally drained? Maybe you sat through a dinner where people complained the whole time, or you visited someone out of obligation, only to listen to negativity, gossip, or criticism. There comes a point where you realize that time spent in stressful environments is time you'll never get back. And at this stage in life, every moment matters. For example, take Helen, who used to visit certain family members regularly. Even though every visit left her feeling emotionally exhausted, there was always tension in the air, always an argument waiting to happen, always something that made her feel like she wasn't being appreciated. One day, she decided she wasn't going to keep putting herself in those situations. Instead, she focused on the people who made her feel loved, welcomed, and respected. And for the first time in years, socializing felt enjoyable again. The truth is, you have every right to protect your time and energy. You don't owe anyone your presence, especially if that presence comes at the cost of your own happiness. Choosing to avoid unnecessary stress isn't being rude, it's being wise. Because the people who truly care about you won't make you feel obligated to endure negativity just to maintain a relationship. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, finding comfort in familiar spaces. There's something about home that just feels right. Over the years, you build a space that's yours, a place where you can relax, think, and truly be yourself. And as you get older, that comfort becomes more valuable than ever. The idea of getting dressed, driving across town, making small talk, and sitting in someone else's space just doesn't feel as appealing as it once did. It's not about avoiding people. It's about appreciating the peace of your own surroundings. When you're younger, there's an urge to always be on the go, always seeking out social events and new experiences. But over time, you realize that being out isn't always better than being home. There's a special kind of joy in waking up in your own bed, drinking coffee from your favorite mug, and knowing that your day will go exactly how you want it to. There's no pressure to entertain, no need to adjust to someone else's schedule, just the comfort of being in a space that feels truly yours. For someone, visiting people means dealing with environments that don't feel welcoming. Maybe their house is too loud, too chaotic, or just not comfortable for long visits. Maybe the chairs aren't as supportive, the atmosphere feels unfamiliar, or you don't feel as at ease as you do in your own home. The reality is, as you age, your comfort matters more than social expectations. And if you find more joy in staying home than in traveling to visit others, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Take Bill, for example. He used to feel guilty about turning down invitations. But every time he visited someone, he found himself counting the minutes until he could leave. The noise, the distractions, the unfamiliar environment, it was exhausting. One day, he decided to stop, forcing himself to go places just because he felt he had to. Instead, he started inviting people to visit him on his own terms. And suddenly, socializing became something he actually looked forward to, instead of something he dreaded. There's a reason why home feels like home. Because it's a space designed for you. It's where you feel safe, where your favorite things are, where you can move at your own pace, without worrying about being a guest in someone else's space. Choosing to spend more time at home isn't about isolation. It's about embracing the comfort you've worked so hard to create. Now let's talk about something that happens naturally as you get older. Realizing that not every relationship needs constant upkeep. Number 4, preferring quality over quantity in social life. When you're younger, socializing often feels like a numbers game. The more friends you have, the more invitations you get, the busier your calendar looks, the more connected you feel. But as you age, you begin to realize that real fulfillment doesn't come from the number of people in your life, but from the depth of the relationships you maintain. Instead of making the effort to visit just for the sake of socializing, many older adults choose to invest in fewer but more meaningful connections. At this stage in life, there's no need for shallow friendships. You're no longer trying to impress, prove anything, or maintain relationships that don't bring genuine joy. The people who are truly important don't require constant visits or frequent check-ins to stay close. There's a mutual understanding that friendship isn't about physical presence. It's about being there in the ways that actually matter. Think about how many casual acquaintances you've had over the years. People you spent time with out of routine, convenience, or even obligation. Now ask yourself, how many of those people truly added something valuable to your life? If the answer is not many, then it makes sense why, as you grow older, you stop feeling the need to maintain so many connections. The friendships that last aren't the ones based on convenience or habit, but on genuine understanding, trust, and appreciation. Take Nancy, for example. She used to feel like she had to keep up with everyone, calling, visiting, making plans, just to make sure she wasn't forgotten. But over time, she realized that the people who truly cared about her didn't need that constant reinforcement. She started focusing on the relationships that felt effortless, the ones where she could go weeks or months without seeing someone, yet still pick up right where they left off. And suddenly, her social life became less about obligation and more about real connection. Choosing quality over quantity doesn't mean cutting people off or isolating yourself. It means prioritizing the relationships that uplift you and letting go of the ones that don't. It's about recognizing that true friendship isn't measured by how often you see someone, but by how you feel when you're together. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5, a shift in priorities and personal reflection. As you get older, you start to see life differently. The things that once seemed important, staying socially active, being seen, making sure you're always part of the group, start to fade in significance. Instead, you begin to focus on what truly matters. You recognize that your time is limited, and you start making choices that reflect what brings you the most peace, fulfillment, and happiness. For many seniors, this shift in priorities means that visiting others just for the sake of it no longer feels necessary. Instead of spending time on activities that no longer bring joy, there's a deeper appreciation for self-care, personal growth, and simply enjoying the present moment. Some people find fulfillment in reading, others in hobbies they never had time for before, and others in simply sitting in the quiet of their home, reflecting on the life they've lived. Think about it. How many moments have you spent doing things out of habit rather than genuine interest? When you were younger, you might have felt pressure to say yes to every invitation, keep up with social expectations, and always be on the go. But now you have the freedom to choose differently. You can prioritize the things that bring you joy, whether that means spending time alone, being with loved ones, or simply embracing the peace that comes with aging. Take Robert, for example. He spent most of his life being a social butterfly, always attending events, always making sure he was present. But as he got older, he realized that he found more peace in solitude than in constant social interaction. He started to spend more time outdoors, enjoying simple walks, reading books he had put off for years, and reflecting on the things that truly made him happy. Instead of forcing himself to visit people just to maintain appearances, he embraced the idea that being alone didn't mean being lonely. It meant being in control of his time. This shift in priorities isn't about pushing people away, it's about honoring yourself. It's about recognizing that the best way to live these years isn't by following old habits, but by embracing what feels right, what feels meaningful, and what brings you peace. Now let's talk about something just as important: why real friendships don't need frequent visits to stay strong. Number 6, recognizing that true friendships don't require frequent visits. One of the biggest realizations that comes with age is that the best friendships don't rely on constant visits or regular check-ins. When you're younger, it might seem like relationships need constant maintenance to stay strong. You call often, you visit frequently, you go out of your way to keep up. But as you get older, you realize that real connections don't fade just because you see someone less often. The truth is, life naturally pulls people in different directions. Families grow, priorities shift, and people settle into different routines. But strong relationships, the ones that truly matter, are built on something deeper than physical presence. They're built on mutual respect, understanding, and an unspoken bond that doesn't need constant reinforcement. Some of the closest friendships are the ones where you can go weeks, months, or even years without seeing each other. And yet, when you do reconnect, it feels like no time has passed at all. Think about your own friendships. There are probably people in your life who you don't see as often as you used to, yet when you do, it's as if nothing has changed. You don't need to prove your loyalty or constantly be in each other's presence. The connection is already there. And on the other hand, there may have been relationships in the past where you spent a lot of time visiting, yet deep down, those friendships didn't truly fulfill you. Take Eleanor, for example. She used to feel guilty about not visiting people as much as she used to. She worried that if she didn't put in the effort, those relationships would fade. But what she found was the opposite. The people who genuinely cared about her never once made her feel guilty for not visiting more often. They understood that life changes, and that a strong friendship isn't about how often you see each other, but about how you show up for each other when it truly matters. This is why so many older adults choose to stop feeling pressure to visit others out of obligation. True friendships don't demand constant presence. They offer comfort, understanding, and the kind of bond that doesn't weaken with time. If someone makes you feel guilty for not visiting enough, maybe it's time to ask yourself if that's really the kind of friendship you want to maintain. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, take a moment to reflect on the 6 reasons why visiting people less often isn't something to feel guilty about. Life changes, priorities shift, and the way we socialize naturally evolves. Whether it's preserving your energy for meaningful interactions, avoiding unnecessary stress, embracing the comfort of home, focusing on quality over quantity in relationships, redefining your personal priorities, or recognizing that true friendships don't require constant visits. These are all valid and important reasons to choose how you spend your time wisely. One of the greatest freedoms that comes with aging is the ability to live life on your own terms. You no longer feel pressured to keep up appearances, force interactions, or visit people just because it's expected. Instead, you make choices based on what truly brings you joy, peace, and fulfillment. That's not being antisocial, it's being intentional with your time. And when you do spend time with people, it's because you genuinely want to, not because you feel obligated to. The most important thing to remember is that your value isn't measured by how often you visit people, but by the relationships you nurture in your own way. The people who truly matter will understand that friendship and love go beyond physical presence. And as you focus on the connections that uplift you, you'll find that you're left with the relationships that truly make life meaningful. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Have you ever wondered how rare it is to still do certain things after 65? Many people assume aging means slowing down, losing abilities, or becoming less capable. But here's the truth: if you can still do these 8 things, you are among a small and remarkable group. In this video, we're diving into 8 signs that show you are aging exceptionally well, even if you don't realize it. From physical strength to mental sharpness, each sign reveals a deeper truth about your longevity, resilience, and overall health. If you're able to do some or all of these things, consider yourself a rare jewel, because most people your age cannot. Stay tuned until the end, because you'll not only recognize these rare qualities in yourself, but you'll also discover why they matter for living a longer, healthier, and more fulfilling life. Now let's get started. Number 1, you have strong grip strength. One of the most overlooked but powerful indicators of longevity is grip strength. If you can still firmly shake hands, carry a heavy grocery bag, or easily open a jar, you're doing better than you think. Grip strength isn't just about hand muscles. It reflects overall muscle mass, nerve function, and even heart health. Studies show that seniors with a strong grip tend to live longer, recover faster from illnesses, and remain independent well into their later years. Think about it: when your grip is weak, simple daily tasks become frustrating. Struggling to hold a coffee mug or maintain balance while standing up from a chair isn't just an inconvenience, it's a sign of declining strength. But if your grip is still solid, it means your body's retaining its functionality, endurance, and resilience. For example, imagine a man named Frank who's 75 years old. He still enjoys working in his garden, lifting small pots and handling tools with ease. His doctor once told him that his grip strength was better than some men in their 50s. That's not just a source of pride. It's a sign that his entire body is staying stronger than the average person his age. Grip strength is directly linked to your ability to maintain mobility and avoid falls, a major concern for seniors. Strong hands mean you can stabilize yourself when needed, hold on to railings with confidence, and continue doing things you love without struggling. So if you still have a strong grip, take it as a sign that your body's aging remarkably well. Number 2, you can get up from the floor without assistance. Being able to sit down on the floor and get back up without help is one of the most revealing signs of longevity. If you can still do this, you have something many people your age have lost: flexibility, balance, coordination, and core strength. This simple ability isn't just about convenience. It's a predictor of how well you'll maintain independence in the years ahead. Think about how often you use this skill in daily life. Maybe you kneel down to grab something under the couch, sit on the floor while playing with grandkids, or even stretch after a walk. Many seniors find themselves struggling to rise up without pushing on their knees or needing to grab onto furniture. But if you can smoothly transition from the floor to standing, You're in the minority, and that's a great thing. Let's take Margaret, 72 years old, as an example. She still enjoys her morning yoga routine, effortlessly moving from sitting to standing without wobbling. Her doctor once mentioned that most women her age can't do that without help. That's because it's not just about muscle, it's about overall body control, joint mobility, and lower body strength. The reason this matters, studies show that people who can't get up from the floor without using their hands are twice as likely to experience mobility, decline, and health complications. Your ability to move like this reduces fall risk, keeps your joints lubricated, and ensures your muscles stay engaged even in simple movements. If you can still do this, take it as a sign that your body is functioning far better than most people your age. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, you can maintain good posture without struggling. Posture says a lot about how well your body is aging. If you can stand upright with your shoulders back, walk without hunching forward, and sit without slumping, you're ahead of most people in your age group. Over time, poor posture leads to a weakened core, back pain, and even breathing difficulties. But if you still maintain proper alignment, it means your spine, muscles, and joints are supporting you well, a rare trait among seniors. You might not think about it often, but posture affects more than just your appearance. It plays a direct role in mobility, balance, and even organ function. When your spine is properly aligned, your lungs expand fully, allowing better oxygen flow and improving energy levels. On the other hand, if you're constantly hunched over, your body is working harder to compensate, leading to fatigue and discomfort. Take George, a 74-year-old retired teacher. He still walks with confidence, his back straight and his head held high. People often assume he's younger than he is simply because of his posture. His doctor once told him, "Most men your age are dealing with spinal compression or a forward-leaning stance, but you're holding up remarkably well." That's because George makes an effort to stay active, engage his core, and avoid the habits that lead to a hunched back. One key reason posture matters is that it directly affects balance and fall prevention. Poor posture shifts your center of gravity forward, making you more likely to lose your footing. When you stand tall, you naturally distribute your weight correctly, reducing strain on your joints and improving stability. If you can still hold yourself upright without discomfort or constant reminders, take it as a sign that your body is aging with strength and resilience. Number 4, you can easily get up from a chair without using your hands. This might seem like a small thing, but being able to stand up from a chair without pushing off with your hands is a major sign of physical strength and independence. Many people over 65 gradually lose lower body strength and mobility, making it harder to rise from a seated position. If you can still do this effortlessly, it means your legs, core, and balance are all working in harmony, a rare ability that many take for granted until it's gone. Think about how often you get up and down throughout the day, whether it's rising from the couch, getting out of a car, or standing up from the dinner table. These everyday movements rely on a combination of leg power, core stability, and coordination. If you struggle with this motion, it's often an early warning sign of declining muscle strength or joint stiffness. But if you can still do it smoothly, you're demonstrating a level of physical capability that many in your age group have already lost. Take Linda, a 72-year-old grandmother. She never really thought about it until she noticed her friends struggling to get up from chairs, needing armrests or a helping hand. One day at a family gathering, her grandson challenged her to stand up from the floor without using her hands. To her surprise, she did it with ease. The fact that she regularly walks, stretches, and does light strength exercises has kept her body functioning smoothly. What makes this ability so important? It's a key indicator of longevity. Studies show that seniors who can get up from a seated position without assistance tend to live longer and remain independent for more years. It means you have enough muscle strength, joint flexibility, and coordination to prevent falls, which is one of the biggest concerns as people age. If you can still do this effortlessly, appreciate what your body is capable of, because it's a skill that becomes increasingly rare over time. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5, you can stand on one leg for more than 10 seconds. Balance is something many people take for granted until they start losing it. If you can stand on one leg for more than 10 seconds without wobbling or grabbing onto something, you are in far better shape than many people your age. In fact, studies have found that poor balance in older adults is strongly linked to a higher risk of falls, injuries, and even shorter lifespan. Try this test right now. Stand up, lift one foot a few inches off the ground, and count to 10. If you can do it with ease, your coordination, leg strength, and neurological function are all in sync. But if you find yourself swaying, putting your foot down too quickly, or needing to grab onto something, it may be a sign that your stability and muscle control need improvement. Take Frank, a 77-year-old retired carpenter. He used to be extremely active, but over the years he noticed himself feeling a little unsteady when walking on uneven ground. One day during a routine checkup, his doctor asked him to try standing on one leg. He barely made it to 5 seconds before tipping over. That was his wake-up call. He started doing simple balance exercises like heel-to-toe walking and standing on one foot while brushing his teeth. Within a few months, he could stand effortlessly on one leg for over 15 seconds. Why does this matter so much? Good balance helps prevent falls, the #1 cause of serious injury among seniors. But it's also a reflection of your overall muscle function, brain-body connection, and mobility. When your balance starts to fade, it's often a warning sign that your body is losing strength and coordination. But if you can still do this easily, it's a powerful sign that you're ahead of the curve. If you haven't tested yourself yet, give it a try. Stand up, lift one foot, and see how long you can hold it. If you can reach 10 seconds or more, you're part of a rare group of seniors with exceptional stability. Keep it up, because your ability to balance now can help keep you independent and mobile for years to come. Number 6, you can get up from the floor without using your hands. Getting down to the floor and back up again might seem like a simple task, but it's a true test of your strength, flexibility, coordination, and overall mobility. If you can still do this without struggling or using your hands for support, you are in a category of people who tend to live longer and maintain independence well into their later years. The ability to rise from the floor effortlessly relies on a combination of core strength, leg power, balance, and joint flexibility. As people age, these abilities tend to decline, making it harder to get up from low positions. But when you can still do it with ease, it's a clear indicator that your muscles, joints, and coordination are all working in harmony. Take Joan, a 72-year-old grandmother who has been active most of her life. One day she was playing with her grandchildren on the floor, and when it was time to stand up, she noticed something surprising. She could do it without any assistance, just like she always had. Her doctor later told her that this simple ability meant her muscles were strong, her joints were flexible, and her balance was excellent. In fact, studies have shown that people who struggle to get up from the floor without support are at a much higher risk of falls, mobility loss, and even premature death. The reason? It signals a decline in muscle mass, stability, and overall physical function. On the other hand, those who can still do this naturally are often able to stay active, prevent injuries, and remain independent well into their 80s and beyond. If you haven't tested yourself in a while, give it a try. Sit down on the floor, then stand up without using your hands, arms, or knees for assistance. If you can do it smoothly, you are in a rare and fortunate group of seniors who still have excellent mobility. And if it's a challenge, that's okay. It's never too late to start strengthening your core, improving your flexibility, and working on movements that keep you feeling strong and capable. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 7, you can carry groceries without struggling. If you can still carry a bag of groceries without feeling like it's a major workout, you are ahead of most people your age. Grip strength, upper body endurance, and core stability all play a role in how well you can manage. Everyday tasks and studies have shown that grip strength alone is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. Think about it. Your ability to carry weight isn't just about arm strength. It's a sign that your bones are strong, your shoulders are stable, and your body is still capable of performing essential movements without excessive strain. This is something that naturally declines with age, but when you can still lift, hold, and carry items with ease, It shows that your muscles, joints, and nervous system are still functioning at a high level. Take Walter, a 74-year-old retired schoolteacher. He never really thought about his strength until one day at the store, he noticed something. Younger men around him were struggling to lift heavy bags into their cars, while he did it effortlessly. A younger shopper even offered to help, assuming he needed assistance. Walter laughed and said, "I've been doing this for decades. No need to stop now." That small moment made him realize just how much his lifelong activity and strength training had kept him ahead of the curve. Doctors often say that a weak grip and difficulty lifting everyday items are early warning signs of declining health. That's because muscle loss, osteoporosis, and nerve function decline all contribute to frailty over time. If carrying groceries, lifting a chair, or even holding onto something for an extended period has become challenging, it could be a sign that your muscles and bones need more attention. The good news? If you're still able to carry those shopping bags without feeling winded or exhausted, you are in a rare group of seniors who still have functional strength, the kind of strength that allows you to live independently and enjoy life without constant physical limitations. If you want to maintain it, keep using it. Strength training, hand exercises, and even simple activities like squeezing a tennis ball or carrying light weights can keep your muscles and grip strong for years to come. Number 8, you can get down on the floor and stand back up without help. One of the biggest indicators of long-term mobility and independence is your ability to get down on the floor and stand back up without assistance. It might not seem like a big deal until you realize that most people over 65 struggle with this simple movement. Balance, leg strength, flexibility, and core stability all play a role, and those who can still do it have a significantly lower risk of injury, hospitalization, and overall decline in health. Imagine this: Emma, an 80-year-old grandmother, was playing with her grandkids on the living room floor. When it was time to get up, she instinctively placed one foot down, pushed off with her hands, and stood up with ease. Her daughter was shocked, saying, "Mom, I know people 20 years younger than you who can't do that." What Emma didn't realize was that her ability to move so easily was actually an incredible sign of strength, balance, and longevity. In fact, doctors use something called the sit-to-stand test to evaluate a person's overall health and mortality risk. Studies have found that those who struggle to get up from the floor are at a much higher risk of falls, fractures, and long-term mobility issues. If you can still get down and back up without grabbing onto furniture or needing assistance, you are in a rare group of seniors who still have strong, functional movement, a skill that most people lose as they age. Why is this so important? Because falling and not being able to get back up is one of the leading causes of serious injury in older adults. Many seniors who suffer falls struggle not just because of the fall itself, but because they lack the strength and coordination to recover from it. If you can still move up and down with ease, it means your legs, core, and balance system are working well, and that is something to be incredibly proud of. If this is something you'd like to maintain, daily practice makes all the difference. Simple exercises like bodyweight squats, lunges, and core strengthening movements can help keep your muscles engaged. And if you struggle with getting up now, don't be discouraged. Starting with assisted movements, using a chair or cushion for support, can help you regain mobility over time. The key is to never stop moving. If you can still do this naturally, you are far ahead of the curve. And that ability alone makes you part of a very rare and capable group. Commanderim. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, take a moment to reflect on these 8 remarkable abilities. If you're still able to do these things with ease, you are in an elite group of individuals who have maintained their strength, mobility, and mental sharpness far beyond what most people expect at this stage in life. And if there's one thing we've learned, it's that aging doesn't mean losing everything. It means adapting, preserving, and even thriving in ways that others might not expect. So, which of these abilities stood out to you the most? Do you still have all 8? Maybe a few of them? Or is there one you'd like to improve? We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Have you ever felt like time is moving faster than you ever expected? One day you're full of energy, tackling challenges without a second thought, and the next you find yourself pausing to catch your breath, wondering when things changed. The reality is aging brings transformations that can be both surprising and challenging. But here's the truth: understanding what's ahead can make all the difference in how you navigate this stage of life. In this video, we're diving into 5 undeniable realities of getting older, ones that everyone eventually faces, whether they see it coming or not. From shifting social circles to unexpected changes in how you see yourself, these insights will give you a new perspective on aging and how to embrace it with confidence. And make sure to stay until the end, because some of these points might just change the way you look at growing older forever. Now, let's get started. Number 1, energy levels decline. One of the first things you start noticing as you get older is that your energy doesn't stretch as far as it used to. Maybe you used to power through a full day without a second thought. Work, errands, socializing, even late nights didn't faze you. But now by mid-afternoon, you feel like you've hit a wall, and even the simplest tasks require a bit more effort. It's not that you can't do them, but you start picking and choosing where to spend your energy, because you realize you don't have the same reserves you once did. This shift happens gradually. At first, you might chalk it up to a bad night's sleep or an off day, but eventually you recognize that this is the new normal. Your body doesn't recover the way it used to, and things like staying up too late, skipping meals, or neglecting exercise take a bigger toll than they once did. If you push too hard, you pay for it the next day. This is why many older adults start to prioritize routines that allow them to function at their best: better sleep habits, regular movement, and healthier eating. You come to realize that energy is a resource, and the way you manage it matters more than ever. There's also a shift in how you approach rest. When you were younger, taking a break might have felt like a luxury, something you only did when everything else was handled. Now rest becomes a necessity. If you ignore what your body is telling you, it reminds you, sometimes in the form of exhaustion, other times in the form of aches that weren't there before. It's not about giving up or slowing down completely. It's about learning how to move with your body instead of against it. And here's the thing: this doesn't mean you stop doing the things you love. It just means you have to be more intentional about how you do them. You start planning around your energy rather than assuming it will always be there. The reality of aging isn't that you can't be active or engaged in life, but that you have to be smarter about how you spend your time and effort. Instead of running on autopilot like you once did, you begin to focus on the things that truly matter. There's a saying that resonates with many people as they get older: it's not about adding years to your life, but life to your years. That's the key to this stage of life: learning how to work with the changes instead of resisting them. Because when you figure that out, you realize that while you may have less energy than before, you can still live just as fully, if not more so, by being intentional with the energy you do have. Number 2, social circles shrink. As the years pass, you start to notice something unexpected. Your social circle isn't as wide as it used to be. When you were younger, it seemed effortless to keep up with friends. You were surrounded by coworkers, neighbors, and acquaintances, and making plans was as simple as picking up the phone. But as life moves forward, relationships change. People move away, family dynamics shift, and before you know it, the number of people you regularly interact with has dwindled. At first, it's easy to brush off. After all, life gets busy, and everyone has their own responsibilities. But eventually, you start to feel it: the silence in moments that used to be filled with conversation, the gaps where familiar faces once were. Maybe you reach out to an old friend, only to realize it's been years since you last spoke. Maybe you scroll through your phone, looking for someone to call, and realize there are fewer names than there used to be. One of the hardest parts of aging is that friendships don't maintain themselves the way they once did. When you were younger, friendships were often built into your daily life, through work, school, or shared activities. But as you get older, you have to put in more effort to keep them alive. If you don't, they start to fade, not out of lack of care, but simply because life moves in different directions. And then there's the reality that some friendships aren't lost to distance or time, but to something far more permanent. As you age, you start losing people you've known for decades, people who've shared your history. There's no easy way to prepare for that kind of loss. It changes you. It reminds you that time is moving forward, whether you're ready for it or not. But here's what matters. While your social circle may shrink, the relationships that remain tend to be deeper, more meaningful. You begin to appreciate quality over quantity. The friends who stay are the ones who truly matter, the ones who show up when it counts. And if you make the effort, new connections can still be formed. It may take more work, but building relationships never stops being important. The truth is, loneliness can creep in if you let it. But just as friendships fade without effort, they can also be nurtured with intention. Whether it's calling an old friend, joining a group, or simply making time for people who matter, staying connected is one of the most important things you can do as you age. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how many people you know, it's about having people in your life who truly know you. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, appearance and self-perception shift. One of the biggest surprises about aging isn't just how others see you, it's how you see yourself. You don't feel different on the inside, but one day, you catch your reflection and realize the person staring back at you isn't quite the same. The face that once seemed so familiar now carries lines that weren't there before. Your hair isn't as thick or as dark as it used to be. Your body doesn't look the way it once did. And even if you were never particularly concerned with appearance, you notice these changes. It's impossible not to. At first, it might feel like a small thing, a moment of surprise when you look at an old photo and realize how much time has passed. But over time, it becomes something you think about more. Maybe you catch a glimpse of yourself in a store window and do a double take. Maybe someone refers to you as sir or ma'am, and it takes a moment to register that they're talking to you. Or maybe you just don't recognize yourself in the way you once did. There's a strange disconnect that happens as you get older. You still feel like yourself, the same person with the same thoughts, the same humor, the same memories. But the world starts treating you differently. Strangers see you as an older person first, before they see anything else. You might feel invisible in ways you never did before. People talk over. You assume things about you, or fail to see who you really are beyond your age. And then there's the internal battle. You know that aging is natural, that it happens to everyone, and yet, some days it's hard to fully accept. Society has a way of making people feel like getting older means becoming less attractive, less relevant, less seen. That's why so many people fight against it, trying to hold on to their youth in whatever way they can. But the truth is, real confidence comes from embracing where you are, not fighting to stay where you were. There's power in owning your age, in standing tall, and knowing that your worth isn't tied to smooth skin or thick hair. The lines on your face tell a story. They show where you've laughed, where you've worried, where you've lived. And when you stop seeing them as flaws and start seeing them as a map of everything you've experienced, you realize that getting older doesn't take anything away from you. It adds to you. The key is to shift how you define yourself. You're not just an older version of who you used to be. You're someone who has grown, evolved, and gained a depth that younger years couldn't offer. And while the world may focus on youth, the truth is there's a presence that comes with age that can't be replicated. A younger person might turn heads with their looks, but an older person turns heads with their presence. The way they carry themselves, the way they move through the world with a quiet kind of knowing. That's something no amount of youth can replace. So while your appearance may change, who you are at your core remains. And the way you see yourself matters far more than the way anyone else sees you. Because at the end of the day, confidence isn't about looking young. It's about fully stepping into who you are, without hesitation, without apology, and without needing to be anyone other than yourself. Number 4, health becomes a daily priority. There was a time when you hardly thought about your health. Sure, you knew it was important, but it wasn't something that took up space in your daily routine. You got up, went about your day, and trusted that your body would keep up with whatever you asked of it. But as the years go by, that changes. Suddenly, health isn't just something you should take care of. It becomes something you have to take care of. It starts with small things. Maybe it's a few more aches in the morning, a little stiffness when you get out of bed. Maybe it's realizing you don't bounce back from a cold as quickly as you used to. Or maybe it's that first time a doctor hands you a prescription for something you never thought you'd need. Slowly, health moves from the background of your life to the forefront. It becomes part of the conversation, part of the routine, part of what you have to think about if you want to keep living the life you want. One of the biggest adjustments to getting older is accepting that your body has limits. When you were young, you could push through exhaustion, skip meals, stay up too late, and get away with it. But now the consequences come faster. You start realizing that how you treat your body today affects how you'll feel tomorrow. The late nights leave you dragging for days. The meals you used to eat without a second thought now don't sit as well. Recovery takes longer, and suddenly things like stretching, staying hydrated, and getting enough sleep aren't just good habits, they're necessary. Then there's the realization that regular checkups, screenings, and medications aren't optional anymore. You start hearing words like cholesterol, blood pressure, and bone density more than you ever expected. And while it might feel strange at first, staying on top of these things makes all the difference. Catching problems early, following through with treatments, and listening to what your body is telling. You can mean the difference between struggling through aging and thriving through it. But here's the part people don't talk about enough. Your mindset about health matters just as much as the physical side of it. Some people start seeing their bodies as a list of problems to manage, focusing only on what's going wrong. But the ones who age well are the ones who see their health as something they can still control. They stay active, keep moving, and do what they can to maintain strength, flexibility, and balance. They don't just sit back and let time take its course, they work with it. Because the truth is, while aging brings changes, you still have choices. You can choose to take care of yourself. You can choose to make adjustments, to listen to your body, to give it what it needs instead of what it used to want. And when you do, you don't just add years to your life, you add life to your years. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5, sense of purpose evolves. One of the biggest shifts that happens as you age isn't just physical, it's internal. It's the realization that the things that once gave you a strong sense of purpose may no longer be there. For decades, life was built around responsibilities, routines, and roles that shaped your identity. You were a worker, a provider, a caregiver, someone people depended on. And then one day you find yourself in a quieter phase of life and you start wondering, what now? It's an adjustment that many don't see coming. When you were younger, you had clear markers of success, career achievements, raising a family, contributing to society in a way that felt tangible. But as those responsibilities shift or fade, it's easy to feel like you've lost a part of yourself. Some people struggle with this more than others. They retire and feel lost without their job. Their children grow up and start their own lives, and suddenly the house feels emptier. The routines that once structured their days disappear, and they're left trying to figure out what comes next. The truth is, purpose isn't something you lose with age. It's something that evolves. The problem isn't that there's nothing left to do. It's that the definition of what gives life meaning has to change. And that change can be uncomfortable at first. But the people who navigate this transition well are the ones who actively seek out new ways to engage with the world. They find hobbies, they volunteer, they mentor, they travel. They invest time in relationships, in learning, in personal growth. They understand that purpose isn't tied to a title or a role. It's tied to how you spend your time and who you share it with. One of the best things about aging is that you finally have the freedom to focus on what truly matters. You're no longer chasing the things that seemed so urgent in your younger years. You get to slow down, reflect, and make choices based on what genuinely brings you fulfillment. Maybe it's picking up an old passion you never had time for. Maybe it's giving back in a way that makes a difference. Maybe it's simply appreciating life in a way you never did before. The key is not to fall into the trap of thinking that aging is about stepping aside, about becoming less relevant. Your value doesn't diminish with time, it deepens. Experience, wisdom, perspective, these are things that only come with age. And when you embrace them, you realize that life doesn't stop giving you purpose just because one chapter has ended. It simply invites you to write the next one on your own terms. Final thoughts. As we wrap up this video, take a moment to reflect on these 5 realities of aging. Which one stood out to you the most? Was there something that resonated with your own experience? Maybe you felt the shift in your energy levels, noticed changes in your social circle, or struggled with how you see yourself in the mirror. Or perhaps you've been navigating the challenge of maintaining your health or redefining your sense of purpose. Whatever it is, know this: aging isn't about losing who you are. It's about adapting, growing, and embracing the changes in a way that allows you to live fully, no matter what stage of life you're in. The truth is, aging doesn't diminish you. It refines you. It strips away the noise and distractions, leaving behind what truly matters: wisdom, resilience, and the ability to appreciate life in a way that youth never could. The key is to approach this stage with intention. Take care of your health, nurture your relationships, and find meaning in the everyday moments. Let go of what no longer serves you and lean into the things that bring you joy. And most importantly, never let the world convince you that your best years are behind you, because in many ways, they're still unfolding right in front of you. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.